but it's not against any religion to want to dispose of a pigeon. So if Sunday you're free, why don't you come with me and we'll poison the pigeons in the park? And maybe we'll do in a squirrel or two while we're poisoning pigeons in the
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special Easter edition of the Atheist Experience. That was Tom Lahr's great Poisoning Pigeons in the Park. So welcome, everybody, to the Atheist Experience. I'm your host, Matt Dillahunty. Joining me this week is Don Baker.
Good to be here.
We've got, chocolate. We've got, like, chocolate eggs and chocolate crosses and bunnies, and because, it's fun. But we also have our friend here, but we'll get to that later, I guess. The Easter bunny.
So, is this a good time to maybe talk about, what your plans are for the bunny, for later today and future shows?
After I'm sure it's dead, I'm going to take it down from here and put it in a box.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're going to put it in a box and check the box next week just to make sure the bunny's still there. If it's not there, then I'm going to use that as proof that this bunny has been resurrected.
And it's therefore supernatural, right?
Among even some of the more famous apologists like Josh McDowell, the empty tomb alone is proof of resurrection. And so if the shoebox is empty next week, clearly we'll have proof of a resurrection. I know the bunny's got Jesus on his side. It even says it right on his thing. It says, Jesus loves me on it.
Jesus loves me. Yeah.
And, he not only brought himself back, he brought Lazarus back. And if you read some of those other accounts, during this whole death and resurrection thing, there were people getting up out of their graves, saints running around all over town. It's curious that nobody else reported any of this. That there's not,
It must have been just commonplace. Yeah.
Some historian of the time who was taking notes on everything that was going on failed to notice that on this particular day, massive, this huge zombie attack, it didn't make the papers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe by then they figured out to get him in the head is this.
They were all stuffed from Passover feast and just were sitting on their ass in the house, and they didn't see the zombies. But where did the zombies go? When they were done roaming around, did they go back to their graves?
Crawl back in their graves?
Cover themselves up with dirt? or did they ascend too? And does their ascension kind of take away from Jesus' ascension, since he's supposed to be the one? These are real questions.
Sounds like a really bad horror movie.
I'm having a bit of fun, but for the people who are claiming that this book is a reliable testimony of real events, please give me an explanation for this stuff.
Well, what annoys me with this is you point out these inconsistencies, and then Christians will say, "Oh, well, they're like a bunch of different viewpoints, and because they all kind of sort of agree, it must be true."
Yeah.
And what is it? What is it?
Yeah. There is no it there.
Right.
There's this kind of quasi-narrative that almost, tells you something. When was Jesus born? Was it, as Matthew's pointing out, when Herod was ruling? Or was it 10 years later, as it's reported in other Gospels, when Quirinius has taken a census? Why do we still have colors?
We got colors.
Oh, they're gone.
So if you disagree with anything I'm saying, give us a call. We're going to open the phone lines up.
I wanted to wish you gentlemen a good afternoon and a happy Easter.
I
see the bunny rabbit is in a lot of pain there.
Actually, he's tied up really neatly. There's no nails or anything. He'll be fine.
Okay, yeah, no stuffed animals were hurt during this.
Right.
Well, the Easter bunny is a sign of fertility, is it not? It's a sign of kind of paganism, right?
Yep. Much the same way that I equated the Boy Scouts' right to bigotry with KKK's right to bigotry. These guys have a right to be bigots too. It doesn't really surprise me at all that we found a preacher who's a bigot. Ooh, imagine that. I'm shocked.
In a sense, this cross thing is really just gory, sadomasochistic performance art.
Right.
It's sadomasochistic because God is supposedly killing himself to appease himself. And it's just really kind of silly in a gory way.
That atheism doesn't have any dogma or tenets. There's no way to get from a lack of belief in a God to justifying any action, good or bad. one of the common quotes, which came up when Dawkins was here as well, is that without religion, good people do good things and bad people do bad things, and both are likely to do a little of each. But in order to get somebody, a good person, to do a truly evil thing, you need religion. Now, and I'm not blaming all religion or religion as a concept or anything else. The problem here is not a particular belief; it's dogmatism and authority.
Well,
There's
can
nothing
you be
in
dogmatic about being an atheist, though?
No, I'm not. I have an announcement or warning or to read from one of the listeners of the show.
It's very clever.
Yes, it's from Robert Grimm, and he says, "I would like to wish everyone a happy Zombie Awareness Day and remind everyone to aim for the head. Let us not forget the story of the Roman centurion who forgot this most important of rules. His gut-shot blunder during the small zombie outbreak in Jerusalem around 30 CE led to millions more deaths throughout the centuries that followed. If you don't aim for the head, your zombie may go on to found a major religion, and we already have more than enough of those." So it's zombie awareness.
Well, we've got a few pokes in already between the bunny on the cross. For those of you listening on the audio, we have a little bunny on a cross. It says irony over the top.
Yeah,
which is kind of ironic.
And it turns out that the devil went back in time, knowing ahead of time that Jesus was going to come, and he manufactured all these fictitious, pseudo-Christs that came before in order to take credence away from the one real one.
That's right, and that claim actually existed quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
That Satan went back in reverse time and played games, and
he's so clever.
He's so clever. I can't remember when it was, but there was an incident in like a stadium where, and they actually did a mock killing of the Easter Bunny there, and the kids were in complete horror over the episode. So you can imagine this going on. It's just kind of funny because the adults want to make sure that Christ is the center of the thing, right?
There's not a single element of this story that's confirmable outside of here. And really, and they say, well, that's because, we collected the best stories and we put them in the Bible, and it's unfair to disregard the Bible. Okay, I agree. It's unfair on the face of it to disregard the Bible out of hand. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm saying there's no idea who wrote any of this. We have no way of verifying it, no autograph copies. And not only are there inconsistencies, but there are known forgeries in there. What you're basically saying is this all feels good to you. You have plenty of things that you can't explain. And rather than investigating them and trying to find an explanation, you're happier just believing that it's all God and Jesus. Yeah, because it keeps you comfortable when things get bad. Okay, fine. I'm asking why that should be justified to anybody else. And your point was that everyone should believe this, even if they haven't had a personal experience, simply based on the existence of right and wrong. Well, guess what? Right and wrong don't exist. They're labels that we apply to phenomena. And the idea of what qualifies as right or what qualifies as wrong has changed over time. And you don't have to go any further than the book that you idolize to demonstrate this. There are plenty of things that used to be considered wrong or right, which now are either right or wrong.
So you do get persecution of people like atheists, and you do get suppression of science, which harms people, and these sorts of things. So faith to us is kind of a dirty word. We don't like it. We think it's a bad thing. It's not a virtue at all.
Well, I'll continue to respect you if you respect me.
I respect you, but I may not respect your beliefs.
Yeah.
And we can maybe have a dialogue about why that's true.
Clearly, I don't respect your beliefs, but I respect your right to hold them.
But then you turn around and you look at what, some of the conservative religious right folks do, like Pat Robertson and Hagee and the like, and they're talking about the World Trade Center was blamed on lesbians and gay folks and feminists and folks like us.
You're seeing the spin. You're seeing a lot of spin.
Yeah, well, I'm seeing the spin basically on a one-sided thing. I mean, if they want to show original right and say, hey, this is the guy who's doing all this anti-Semite, anti-American rhetoric, why don't we show these other guys that are dissing Catholics, dissing everybody else in the world, and say, hey, let's call it nobody's hands are lily white in this whole thing.
So, we serve the atheist community and we set up pool dates, And what a good coincidence out of all the pool halls in
TV,
Austin.
Matt.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else wants to challenge me for money, bring it on. No. Quick. I've forgotten what I was going to say now. Okay, you know what? Until you demonstrate existence, I don't give a damn what Jesus says. Is Kevin back? Kevin, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome back. Sorry I hung up on you.
Thank you.
fat-fingered the button.
I'd just like to, if I may put my 2 cents in first. What I've heard is that there's more wisdom in Shakespeare than there is in all the Bible.
Probably so. Yeah.
Yeah. I like listening to your show sometimes, from time to time, because I really feel that you guys are the voice of reason.
We try.
I really feel that.
Thank you.
I hope so.
Of course you
Thank
don't.
you.
Of course you're not right all the time, and you're struggling. You're attempting to find out what's going on, and I see that in you guys. Imperfect though it may be, etc., etc. And then I hear your callers, most of whom, have this infantile, pathetic pseudo-logic, which is really scary to me. I mean, these people presumably vote.
Yeah.
Some of them become politicians. They become judges, and they make decisions
Presidents.
based upon weirdo ideas.
Our motto here is skepticism is a virtue. Call us up and tell us when we're wrong.
Exactly.
We actually appreciate knowing the right answer and knowing when we make a mistake.
Well, what I see in you guys is a sense of humility as well. And that's why I enjoy watching you, and I just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot for calling, Kevin. We appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
And you hung up on him. Shameful.
Well, I knew he was going to call in and say that I wasn't perfect and I'm not always right. Why would I want to talk to him?
Okay.
Crazy.
All right.
You wacky atheist, Joe. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, everybody, to all our callers. Thanks to the crew, Steve Elliott, Joe Rhodes, Frank Michelle, Sterling Sy, Shelley Roberts, John Icoletti, and Don Baker, who is right here.
That's me.
We'll be back again next week. Enjoy your Easter holiday, whether you celebrate it or not. Have a good piece of chocolate, drive safely, take care of each other, be nice to each other, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you to our callers.